What is up, guys? Reed here. I am 27, just an average dude. Made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. Today we're talking about something that has been eating at me for a while. It is the big L word, luck. I keep seeing this all over the internet. People saying things like he is just lucky. He got lucky with his job. He got lucky finding a girlfriend. His channel got lucky. It is pure luck. And I get it. I really do. It is easy to look at someone else's life and think they just got handed everything on a silver platter. But here's the thing. I've been thinking a lot about this lately because I've been going through old comments and messages and DMs people sent me about my videos, and man, the word luck comes up a lot, like a lot. People saying the only reason I have a decent job is because I got lucky with connections. The only reason I have a girlfriend is because I got lucky on vacation. The only reason my channel grew is because I got lucky with the algorithm, and I am not going to sit here and tell you luck doesn't exist. That would be stupid. Of course luck exists. I was born in a first world country to parents who loved me and kept a roof over my head. That is luck. I didn't choose that. I didn't earn that. I was just born into it, and I am grateful for it every single day. But here's where I start to have a problem with the whole luck conversation. When people blame everything on bad luck, they stop trying, they stop applying to jobs, they stop going on dates, they stop putting themselves out there, because why bother if the universe is just going to screw you over anyway, right? That is the mindset that keeps people stuck. And I know, because I used to be that guy. I used to think the world was against me. I used to think everyone else just had it easier. I used to think I was cursed or something. But then I stumbled on this comment buried in a sea of negativity on one of my videos, just 2 words: volume negates luck. And that hit me like a truck. Because it is true, the more times you try, the less room luck has to mess with you. The more shots you take, the more likely one of them is going to hit. It is simple math. So let me break this down from my own life. No theory, no guru talk. Just real stuff that happened to me. Let us start with jobs. People love to say, oh, Reed, you just got lucky with your career. And yeah, I had an aunt and uncle who helped me get my first internship. I am not going to lie about that. It was a $14 an hour internship, and I spent most of my time cleaning out closets and tagging computers and fixing monitors. Not exactly glamorous stuff, but here is what people don't see. After that internship, the luck ran out. I had to figure everything else out on my own. I went to career fairs and talked to random strangers. I applied to over 100 jobs. I got maybe 10 interviews. I got rejected 90 times. I still have the rejection emails saved in a folder somewhere. We decided to move forward with other candidates. We regret to inform you. Blah, blah, blah. I got so many of those I could wallpaper my apartment with them. And let me tell you, I did not feel lucky when I was reading those emails. I felt like crap. I felt like giving up. I felt like maybe I just wasn't meant to have a good career. But I kept applying. I kept going to career fairs. I kept networking. I kept learning new skills. And eventually I went from $14 an hour to $20 an hour to my first real full-time job offer. Not because I got lucky, but because I tried 100 times volume negates luck. If I had stopped after 10 applications, I would have never gotten that job. If I had stopped after 50, I would have never gotten that job. I had to keep going until something stuck. And that is what most people don't want to do. They want the result without the reps. They want the win without the losses. But that is not how life works. Now let us talk about dating, because oh boy, this is a fun one. People see I have a girlfriend and they think, oh, he just got lucky. He met her on vacation. He didn't have to struggle like the rest of us. And listen, yes, I met her on vacation. Yes, it was kind of random. Yes, there was some luck involved in that moment. But what people don't see is the hundreds of rejections I went through before that. I am talking about years of online dating, years of swiping, years of going on dates that went nowhere, years of getting ghosted and left on red and friend zoned. I have messages in my phone that will make you cringe. Girls who just stopped replying mid-conversation, girls who said they had a good time and then never texted me back, girls who literally told me I was a nice guy but they didn't feel a spark. I could make an entire video just reading these messages, and none of that felt lucky. It felt like I was doing something wrong. It felt like maybe I just was good enough. It felt like everyone else was having an easy time and I was the only one struggling, but I kept going. I kept putting myself out there. I kept going on dates, even after bad ones. I kept learning and growing and becoming a better version of myself. And when I finally met my girlfriend, it was just luck that made it work. It was all those failed dates that taught me how to be a good partner. It was all those rejections that taught me how to handle disappointment. It was all those awkward conversations that taught me how to communicate better. The luck got me in the door, but the volume of attempts is what made me ready for it when it happened. You can get lucky if you are not even in the game. You can win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket, and you can find a good relationship if you give up after 3 bad dates. Volume negates luck. Same thing goes for YouTube. People see me go from 0 to a decent number of subscribers in a short time, and they think, oh, the algorithm just liked him. He got lucky. And yeah, there is some truth to that. The algorithm did push a couple of my videos. That was lucky timing. But what people don't see is the failed channels that came before this one. I started making YouTube videos when I was 14 years old. That was back in 2009. I was making Call of Duty commentaries with my squeaky voice talking about how to get to round 100 on zombies, and nobody watched them. Like literally nobody. I had maybe 50 views on a good day. I did that for years. Then I tried again in my early 20s with tech videos. Nobody watched those either. Then I tried gaming again. Nobody watched. This channel right here is like my third or fourth attempt at this whole YouTube thing. And for the first 25 videos, I barely got any views, like under 100 views on most of them, and then 2 videos hit. And suddenly people think I got lucky overnight, but it wasn't overnight. It was years of failing and trying again. Years of making content that nobody saw, years of wondering if I was just wasting my time. And if I had stopped after the first failed channel, I would have never made it here. If I had stopped after the second one, I would have never made it here. If I had stopped after 25 videos with low views, I would have never made it here, but I kept going because I knew that eventually something would hit. Volume negates luck. The more videos you make, the higher your chances that one of them blows up. The more shots you take, the more likely one lands. It is not complicated, it is just hard to keep going when you are not seeing results. And that is the real problem right there. Most people quit right before something good happens. They try a few times, they get rejected a few times, and they decide that the universe is against them. They decide that they read just unlucky. They decide that success is for other people, and they stop trying. And when you stop trying, you guarantee that nothing good will ever happen. You remove any possibility of luck. You close the door completely. But if you keep going, if you keep putting yourself out there, if you keep increasing the volume of your attempts, eventually something will hit. I truly believe that it is not magic. It is not some secret mindset hack. It is just math. The more times you roll the dice, the more likely you are to roll a 6. And if you roll the dice enough times, you roll plenty of 6s. But you got to keep rolling. You can roll 3 times, get 3 1s, and then throw the dice away and say dice are rigged against me. That doesn't make sense. You just haven't rolled enough times yet. I think about this with money too. So many people think building wealth is about getting lucky, finding the right stock, getting the right inheritance, winning the lottery, getting a lucky break, and sure, those things happen to some people, but for the rest of us regular folks, building wealth is about volume over time. It is about saving consistently even when it is boring. It is about investing even when the market is down. It is about developing side hustles even when they don't take off right away. It is about applying for better jobs even when you get rejected. Every attempt, every dollar saved, every skill learned, every application sent is like adding another fishing line to the water. The more lines you have, the more likely you are to catch something. And if you just sit there with one line complaining that the fish aren't biting, you are never going to catch anything. You got to keep casting. You got to keep trying. You got to keep showing up. I remember when I was at my lowest point financially, I was in my early 20s. I had debt. I had no savings. I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I felt like I was just unlucky. Like everyone else had figured something out that I hadn't, till like the world was set up for other people to succeed. And I was just stuck, and I could have stayed in that mindset. I could have blamed my bad luck and given up, but instead I started learning, I started reading about personal finance, I started tracking my spending, I started cutting out the unnecessary stuff, I started a side hustle that barely made any money at first. I applied for better jobs and got rejected over and over, and slowly over time, things started to change, not because I got lucky, but because I increased my volume of attempts. I tried more things, I made more mistakes, I learned from those mistakes, and eventually I stumbled into things that worked. By the way, if you are looking for a place to start, you can check out my other videos where I break down exactly how I turned my finances around. The point is, none of that happened by accident. It happened because I refused to stop trying. I think the biggest lie we tell ourselves is that successful people just got lucky. It lets us off the hook. It allows us to feel better about our own situation without having to change anything. Because if success is just luck, then there is nothing we can do about it. But if success is about volume, then we have to take responsibility. We have to acknowledge that maybe we haven't tried enough times, maybe we quit too early, maybe we reblaming bad luck when really we just didn't put in the reps. And that is a hard pill to swallow. I know, because I've had to swallow it myself many times. But once you accept it, once you realize that you have more control than you think, everything changes. You stop feeling helpless. You start taking action. You start increasing your volume, and eventually the results start to come. Look, I am not saying life is fair. It is not. Some people have advantages that others don't. Some people are born into wealth or connections or opportunities that others will never have. I acknowledge that I am not trying to pretend like everyone starts from the same place. We don't. But what I am saying is that within your own circumstances, you have more power than you think. You can control how many times you try. You can control how many applications you send. You can control how many dates you go on. You can control how many videos you upload. You can control how many side hustles you start. You can control your volume. And the higher your volume, the less power luck has over your life. Volume negates luck. Those two words changed how I see everything. And I hope they can do the same for you. Let me give you one more example. Think about fishing. If you go fishing with one line in the water, your chances of catching a fish are pretty low. A fish has to swim by at exactly the right moment and decide to bite your specific bait. That is a lot of luck needed. But what if you put 10 lines in the water now? You've got 10 times the chances. What if you put 100 lines? Now you are almost guaranteed to catch something eventually. And what if you go fishing every single day for a year? Now you are pretty much guaranteed to have a successful fishing season. That is how life works. The people who seem lucky are the ones who have the most lines in the water. They read the ones who are trying the most things. They read the ones who refuse to give up. They read the ones who understand that success is a numbers game, and that is not some secret knowledge. That is just reality. The harder you work, the more you try, the more shots you take, the luckier you get. It is not a coincidence that the people who try the most things tend to have the most success. It is cause and effect. I want you to think about your own life. Where are you blaming bad luck? Is it your career? Is it your relationships? Is it your finances? Is it your health? Wherever it is, I want you to ask yourself one question. Have I really tried enough times? Have I put in enough volume, or have I quit too early? Be honest with yourself, because if you are being honest, you might realize that you haven't actually tried that many times. You might realize that you gave up after a few rejections. You might realize that you stopped putting yourself out there. And if that is the case, then you have the power to change it. You can start trying again. You can increase your volume. You can start putting more lines in the water. And the more you do that, the more likely something good will happen. I am not promising it will be easy. It won't be. It is hard to keep going when you are getting rejected. It is hard to keep applying when no one is calling you back. It is hard to keep showing up when nobody is watching. But that is exactly what you have to do, because the alternative is giving up. And giving up guarantees you never get what you want. IV lived in a constant state of rejection for most of my adult life. Job rejections, dating rejections, failed businesses, failed YouTube channels, failed side hustles, failed investments. IV failed more times than I can count, and I probably fail many more times in the future. But that is okay, because every failure is just practice. Every rejection is just data. Every no gets me closer to a yes. And as long as I keep going, the yes will eventually come. That is not optimism. That is probability. If you flip a coin enough times, eventually you'll get heads. If you roll a dice enough times, eventually you'll get a 6. And if you try enough things, eventually something will work. It is inevitable, but only if you keep trying. So here's my challenge to you. Stop blaming bad luck. Stop telling yourself that the universe is against you. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else. Highlight reel and start increasing your volume. Send out more job applications. Go on more dates, upload more videos, start more side hustles, learn more skills, network with more people, put more lines in the water, and don't stop until something hits. And when something hits, keep going, keep increasing your volume, because the people who succeed in life aren't the luckiest. They the ones who never stop trying. They the ones who understand that volume negates luck. They the ones who kept going when everyone else quit. Be that person, show luck, who is boss. I am not saying this to sound tough or inspirational. I am saying it because I genuinely believe it. I've seen it work in my own life. I went from being a broke guy with debt and no direction to someone who has a career I love, a relationship I am grateful for, and a channel that is growing every day. And none of that happened because I got lucky. It happened because I tried 100 times and failed 99 times and kept going on the 100th try. And if I can do it, anyone can. I am not special. I am not a genius. I am not a natural talent at anything.